Today in episode 10, I will show you what I did at Disney World over 50 years ago. It'll be woven pieces. I'm going to show you how to make a crab. This is one of the actual pieces I made at Walt Disney World in Orlando in 1973 and 74. I was doing these 1,000 in a row. And it's a running stitch body with legs and different things on it to make a crab. And it all comes off of a cold seal. Pretty much the way the running stitch goes on this piece is you tag onto it, and then with your right hand, specifically your right thumb, you're rolling the glass 180 degrees every time you do one of these little hopscotches. You roll with your left hand the piece around toward you, and then with your right hand you're just feeding the glass in, and then you slowly start lifting your left arm up, and that changes the angle that the running stitch is put down. As it gets closer to paralleling the rod in my right hand, then I'm slowly filling that on the inside. So here is the body of the crab. I did 1,000 of these, and then I switched to teapots, did 1,000 of those, and then I switched to bird baths. I'm going to put in the eyes now. It's just from underneath, and then go up. And it'll gather on the underneath, and then bring it around up. I'm going to put a gather that will become the right front leg of this crab. You go up and then downward and outward. Get a gather ready. Go down, go up, and then downward. Now you want to make sure those legs are going to go in a paralleling way. Now I'm going to do the two legs at the rear. This would be the rear left leg, back, up, to the rear. This is the rear right leg, up, to the rear. Now I'm going to do the middle leg. I'm doing the middle leg on its left side. You go up. It just pinches off. And then let that lay in. I'm going to do the middle leg on the right side. None of these pieces that were made were ever annealed. I was working at Walt Disney World from October of 1973 until January of 1974. I made thousands of these pieces. This is going to be the claw on its right side, a double pull. This will be the claw on its left side. A double pull here. The claw on the bottom side. And the claw on the bottom side, on the other side. So there's your crab. And it's cold sealed. I'm going to be showing you how to make a teapot. This was the second item that I was trained to do at Walt Disney World in Florida in 1973. This is going to start with a cold seal, just a little button on the end of this. I'm making this out of Cadillac pink from North Star. Just do a little Maria there. What I'm making now is the bottom of the teapot, and then I'm going to switch punties. So this will have that same running stitch. You weld it on, and then you do this hopscotch thing. You kind of want a little teeny bit of air trapped in between the hopscotch, and this is generally referred to as a running stitch. And then what goes on this is a loop stitch trim. I pull it away from the glass. This loop stitch is done with my right thumb. You look at what I'm doing with my right thumb. I'm rolling it 180 degrees. Each time I pull that glass out, I pull it and I flip it 180 degrees and I take it back right where it was. So this is the bottom of the teapot. And these are items that sold in amusement parks in the 1970s. Okay, so now I'm going to go back into where I started. Now I'm gradually going to be taking my left hand and moving it up so that that will force the angle that the running stitch little parts are changing. I'm pulling it away and jumping back in, away and in, away and in. And while I'm doing that, my right hand, my thumb specifically, is rolling that rod so that you're heating the front and the back of it. I haven't done this thing, in production for over 50 years, and I was never really good at running stitch and loop stitch. I was good enough so that I could sell them for Disney and all, but I was never really good at it, not great at any means. This could probably be the worst teapot I've ever made. This is another loop stitch trim. Homer Hoyt's book shows a lot of techniques on how to do this. And I believe Eli and Lizzie sells the glass blowing book by Homer Hoyt. I'm going to make the handle. This is extremely crude stuff. And then the spout. And there's the little teapot. I'm going to be showing you how to make a bird bath. This is a piece I made in 1974, and I was never really good at running stitch or loop stitch trim. I did them well enough for Disney to sell them, but it was never anything I excelled at. I'm going to start with doing a cold seal on the end of this 6mm punty. And off of this cold seal, I'll be making the bottom section of the bird bath. Now I'm going to be coming in and welding this one little spot right here, and then my right hand is going to be going in and out, while my left hand rolls that little punty around. And you're doing this like hopscotch here. You're just jumping around a little bit and leaving a tiny bit of air inside it. This is what will become the base. Now I'm going to do a loop stitch trim. Each time I bring that little loop around, I reset my right thumb and I do a little loop. I'm rolling with my left hand so that that rolls into the flame area. My right hand is doing that loop. This will be a cold seal. Now I'm going to go back into that same area, and what I've got here is the bottom of the bird bath. I'm going to go back in where I started. To that same little punty mark, and I'm going to start doing the running stitch kind of vertical. And now that I get maybe about an inch from the bottom, I'm going to lower my left hand, and that changes the angle that my right hand is feeding the glass in to make the inside of the bird bath. I'm using my right thumb to roll the rod in my right hand. And now I have half of the ball that's kind of in the middle of the bird bath. And as the ball starts to finish, I'm lifting my left hand higher, and this is closing that ball. And then now I'm going to continue this to go in a smaller area. And then at this point, I'm going to lower my left hand a lot more, and that is letting the glass that I'm putting in from my right hand at a lower level. I'm going to take this out a little bit more. My right hand is kind of like doing this hopscotch thing. And my left hand is rolling it around. Now I'm going to go upside down here and do a loop stitch on the bottom of that top section. You see what my right thumb is doing this whole time. As that glass in my right hand is heated up, I'm using my right thumb to roll it 180 degrees so that each time I drop that stitch down, it comes back and it is back where it belongs, and I've got my thumb reset for the next round. Now I'm doing the loop stitch trim on the top. And I might mention again that I was never really good at doing this at Disney. And I'm mostly just showing you this technique as something that people would be interested in. Now for me to do the bird, coming into one side here towards the middle, go upside down when you burn the tail off of the bird. Gather there into the middle area. Go upside down to burn off the tail. A little bird head. A little bird head. A bird tail one way, a bird tail the other way. Another bird tail over here, another bird tail here, a little bird beak, another little bird beak, a little bird eye. Yep, you put the eyes in there. It's crazy, but this is 50 years ago what they wanted. And then now a little bird wing, and it's got a double pull on it. Another double pull wing. Another bird wing here, double pull. I'm actually surprised that this is coming out as good as it is, and that's really not very good, but it's better than what you're doing. So there is the bird bath. The next piece I'm going to show you is a bird hanger, and this is a piece that I designed while I was working for Disney, but not at the park. After I left, I was still selling some stuff to them, and this is using a cobalt rod. I'm going to do a woven based running stitch with a loop stitch trim, and then put a hook up the top, and the whole idea here is that it lets a little bluebird hang. I'm doing the running stitch here. So here is the running stitch base. You tag in. All the work's pretty much done with your right thumb. When I pull that out, I roll it around 180 degrees. This is a really simple little piece, but there's 3 things in glass that have been excellent for sales in the entire history of glass. And pretty much, if you make anything, if it moves, it's easy to sell. If it has a bird, it's easy to sell. And then also, if it's blue, it's easy to sell. So there's the bird hanger part. And here I'm going to make the bird. When I made these at Disney, they were all in clear, and there was a team of people that stained all the glass art that was sold there, or glass craft really. So this is the teardrop bird. There will be a kind of a straight rod coming up from the back side behind the bird's head. Two little eyes and a nose. Bird tail off to one side, tail off to the other, flat, 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 flat. A double pull wing on one side, flat, flat. A double pull wing on the other side. Fire polish that.